From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Reboux. A top European Union official says the 27 EU countries have sealed a deal today on aid to Ukraine, just over an hour into their summit of the bloc's leaders, and despite threats from Hungary to veto the move. "We have a deal," the European Council President Charles Michel wrote on X. He wrote that all 27 leaders agreed on an additional $54 billion support package for Ukraine within the EU budget. Recommendations from a coroner's inquest into 2022's deadly stabbing rampage on Saskatchewan's James Smith Cree Nation suggested some improvements to the RCMP, the Correctional Service of Canada, and even the First Nation itself. Chelsea Stonestand lost family members in Miles Sanderson's attack that left 11 people dead and 17 wounded. She feels families were heard in this inquest.
I felt blown away by all the considerations that was put into it. It's not perfect recommendations, but it's practical, and, this inquest brought us together to seek truth.
The 29 recommendations included that the Mounties fully staff specialized teams and improve the communication with the First Nation. They also touched on funding, security, and support for Indigenous offenders. The director of the Canadian Security Intelligence Service is set to appear today before the federal inquiry into foreign interference. David Vigneault and other current intelligence personnel have been invited to the Ottawa hearing to provide advice to the Commission of Inquiry as it prepares for wider hearings in late March on allegations of foreign interference in the last two general elections. Yesterday, former senior intelligence officials told the inquiry there is room for Canada to be more transparent about national security issues. The cockpit voice recorder has been recovered from the wreckage of the charter plane that went down in Fort Smith, Northwest Territories last Tuesday. The Transportation Safety Board says there are encouraging signs the recorder captured good information. A regional manager says freezing rain has caused delays, though, in efforts to retrieve the actual wreck. He adds investigators have also spoken with the lone survivor of the crash that killed 4 fellow mine workers and 2 crew members en route to the Diavik diamond mine. And Canada's largest school board, the Toronto District School Board, has voted to join several other Ontario boards in cancelling classes on April 8th on a day a rare solar eclipse will chart a course through parts of eastern Canada.
Elena Hyde, a professor of physics and astronomy at York University in Toronto, says the eclipse will be visible in the United States before moving towards southern Ontario, then Quebec, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and Nova Scotia's Cape Breton, lasting for about 2 hours around the same time many kids in Canada are let out from school. Observers in the Ontario communities of Niagara Falls, Hamilton, and Grimsby specifically can expect total darkness for about 4 minutes sometime between 2 and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Nicole Reese, The Canadian Press.
This is the Canadian Press. In sports, the NHL All-Star Weekend kicks off today at Toronto's Scotiabank Arena. The All-Star Player Draft, in addition to the Professional Women's Hockey League 3-on-3 showcase, will be kicking things off. The Vancouver Canucks added to their NHL Best group last night, the team announcing it has acquired forward Elias Lindholm from the Calgary Flames. In return, the Flames will get forward Andrei Kuzmenko, defenseman Hunter Bustevich, and Yoni Yermo, along with a 2024 first-round draft pick and a conditional fourth-round pick. There were just 3 games in the NHL last night. Among them, Shane Pinto scored on a tip-in at 2:05 of overtime to give the Ottawa Senators a 3-2 win over Detroit. And the Los Angeles Sparks acquired Canadian guard Kia Nurse from Seattle yesterday. Nurse from Hamilton signed as a free agent with Seattle last season. She's a 2-time WNBA champion and was a league all-star in 2019. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Reboux.